Today on the podcast, I chat to Nicole Barrett, who is a mum who's actually participated in our Raising Well Nourished Kids program. She's also been a long-term member of my membership, the Well Nourished Family, and she is such an inspiration. She's a mum to 6 kids aging between the age of 7 right through to in their mid-20s. And she just shares her journey just with her son Ashton, who has gone from being a picky eater to being a very inquisitive eater and very accepting of a wide variety of foods, as well as fussy eating in teenagers is something she's also got hands-on experience with. As I said, she's such an inspiration. She's so committed to the health of both herself and her family, and I just love chatting with her today. Hello and welcome to this week's Well Nourished Kids podcast. I'm so excited. We have a very special guest. Nicole Barrett is someone actually who started off in my membership, the Well Nourished Family membership, cooking my recipes and sharing a lot of them online. That's what, really caught my attention was, wow, this lady is cooking a lot for her family. And then she went on to actually participate in the Raising Well Nourished Kids program. So I thought I'd have Nicole on here because I just wanted to discuss all of I know she has a large family, and I just really wanted to discuss what it's like feeding a large family and just her journey with incorporating more and more whole foods into her family's regime. So thank you so much for talking to me today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Georgia. I'm so excited to be here and talk about Well Nourished and the Well Nourished Kids program.
Yeah.
Both are just incredible, and I just have so much love for Well Nourished and the Well Nourished Kids program.
Thank you.
We have a family of 6 kids.
Yes.
My husband and I have a blended family, so it's a large family. We're very busy, and we're trying to do all the things. So that's where.
How old are your kids, Nicole?
We have, our youngest is 7, Ashton, and then it ranges right up into 26 years old.
Wow.
We have 3 teenagers in the mix as well. So
wow.
It's very interesting, to say the least, and we're very busy.
Yeah.
So these resources have been incredible for us as a family.
Yeah. Look, obviously this podcast is about raising well-nourished kids. Yes. And as I said, I know from looking at what you share online that you have become more and more proactive with feeding your family well over the years. Tell me about why you joined Well Nourished Kids. Like what was it that drew you to that program, and what did you hope to achieve, and what have you achieved from participating in the program?
Well, to start from the beginning, I've been a member of Well Nourished for 5 years, and I had so much success with all of our children with Well Nourished. But our youngest was different. He was extremely fussy. His diet was mainly just white foods and very bland. He has a very bland palate at the time he did. So I was looking for something that kind of looked at the habits of the kids and their relationship with food, but also something where you would receive support along the process with working on habits with Ashton. So, it's just been incredible, the progress he's had now after doing the Well Nourished Kids with us.
Yeah, so he started off just eating white foods.
Yes.
And, to begin with, what did you what throughout the course of the program, because you've done the program over a couple of years, like it hasn't been like, it's not been a quick fix.
2 years. 2 years, yeah.
And it's not been a quick fix, is it? Like,
no, absolutely not.
There is no magic bullet.
No.
But with Ashton, apart from the fact that he was a picky eater, were there any other reasons why you wanted to do the program? Had you noticed any health challenges, or was it just that it was difficult fitting a picky eater into I imagine that would be difficult into a large family where you're already feeding lots of people.
Yeah. And the problem was I would do a meal for the rest of the family, and then
Yep.
he would just want to not eat a proper dinner. He wouldn't have a proper lunch. He didn't have, a kind of healthy breakfast. He more so was a snacker, and he just
Yep.
wanted carb-rich foods, and that meant his stomach was always up and down, and
Okay.
he lacked the focus, and also he was getting sick quite a lot because he didn't have any foods that were protein rich. He wasn't eating any meat.
Yes.
So that was one of the things. He didn't like the texture of meat, and he didn't like the smell of it. So for my husband and I, we were just really concerned. We were
Yeah.
like, what are we going to do with him? The rest of the family is so healthy. And I loved cooking all my meals, the well-nourished meals. But for him, he just wasn't interested in any of it.
Yeah.
So
It's
it
frustrating.
was really, quite concerning.
Yeah. And I mean, one thing that we really try to focus on within the program is giving you tools and strategies. There's more to feeding fussy eaters than just presenting foods hundreds of times. I mean, that's part of it, obviously, but
Yes,
we talk a lot about relationships, not just with food, but with each other, with the family dynamic, and developing interest in food outside of actually sitting down and eating it to start with.
yes,
So, what are some of the things that you personally, I mean, for every family, it's different.
yes,
Some things resonate, and every child as well, because every child, as you know, with so many kids, they're all
yeah,
completely different personalities, different
absolutely.
tastes, and different likes and dislikes. What was it that you found, like, just say if you had to pick three strategies or three things that you changed that you felt made the biggest difference in his progress?
Initially, what really changed things for Ashton with his relationship with food was getting him involved in the process.
Yeah.
When I go shopping, he helps me, pick out, food items. I'll say to him, "Hey, Ashton, can you get me two of the best lemons?"
Yeah.
And he loves being a helper. So, and he really, enjoys this process. And this is something else that we do at our weekly farmers market shop. He interacts with the people at the market stalls. He likes talking about the food. He likes feeling it and touching it. And also now he samples the food, which is amazing.
Amazing.
So that would be number one, him being involved in the process.
Yep.
Also him actually helping me in
Yep.
creating meals. Most of the time it's not the whole process. For
Yes.
him, I just gauge his mood.
Yep.
One day he'd be like, "Mom, I want to help the whole, process." And then other times he'd be like, "Oh, I just want to cut these cherry tomatoes up and put
Yep.
it into the salad."
Yep.
Or, he wants to roll out the dough for the pizza dough, and then he's had enough.
Yeah.
That's
And
something
that's,
that's,
sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
something that's really important to that process has been, I'll say to the family and announce to the family, "Oh, look what Ashton's done.
Yeah.
He's helped me with dinner." And he'll be so proud, and he'll go along and say to his brothers and sisters, "Oh, did you know I helped make mum, help mum
Oh,
make this?"
that's
So,
so cute. And I think that's a point. I know, again, we talk a lot about this in the program, that when it comes to helping, a lot of parents think, oh my God, like they just think of the mess. I know even I did that as a parent. I used to think that helping was an all or nothing process, that I had to set up the bench and have, everything ready to go.
yeah,
And I also probably fell into the trap myself initially with my kids, like early days, where I would invite them to help on foods that I knew they were already going to eat. Like,
mm,
if I was making cookies or a cake, well, they're already going to eat that. What I
yes,
didn't realize, and what I've grown to realize with my own kids, and also obviously talking to lots of parents and dispensing this advice to lots of parents, is that often it's more beneficial to invite them to help with foods that they perhaps weren't really into, like
yes,
that
yes,
or foods around that, like with, say my son didn't like salads. I didn't
yes,
actually get him to make the whole salad, but like
mm,
you said, I'd say, hey, cut up some tomatoes and throw them in the salad, would you?
yes,
And then he had contributed to making the salad, or shake the salad dressing, or there's so many little tasks
Yes, and that's a perfect example. Ashton didn't want to touch meat.
Yep.
Like I said, he didn't want to be near it. He didn't want it on his plate. So something that I did is I made meatballs, and I got him, because he didn't want to touch it. I
Yep.
said, just get the
Yep.
tongs and place them into the baking dish. And so then he was still getting exposure to the food, and it
Perfect.
wasn't so foreign to him. And now he eats, any type of protein, which is incredible.
Amazing. It
Yes.
is. And have you noticed a difference in his health and his
Oh,
concentration and
absolutely. At home, he's more willing to listen, and he's now saying, "Hey, mum, it's dinner time." And he's sitting at the table waiting for dinner, and he's like, "Oh, where's my meat?" Or he may say, "I want more on my plate, mum." Which is fantastic.
yes.
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
and
incredible.
Yeah, and even 2 days ago, he said to me, "Mum, can I have a can of tuna?" And
Wow.
I was like, wow, because obviously tuna is so strong,
It is.
and he's loving it. So it's
Wow.
amazing.
That's incredible. Is there
Yeah.
anything else that you've done that you feel has made like a big impact?
Yeah, yeah. Like smoothies has been a real winner for him,
Yep.
especially at the beginning, because he wasn't having enough protein. So
Yep.
we would make smoothies and put all the extra goodness and healthy fats, and we would put the power booster
Yep.
in it. And this was really good for him because he makes up stories with the ingredients. For instance, the power booster, he'd be like, "Oh, mum, look at all my sand in my
Yeah, right.
smoothie." And he'd just be a bit silly.
That's
Um,
so cute. I love it.
yeah, yeah,
Just
and
I was going to say, for anyone listening, Power Booster is a recipe that is it's in the membership, but it's also part of the Raising Well Nourished Kids program. It's collection of very nutrient dense ingredients that are kind of pulsed together to make sand. There you go. I'm going to call it sand. I should have called it power sand from now on. But yeah, the idea is to just sprinkle it on in smoothies, onto anything that kids are enjoying and eating. It tastes pleasant, and generally it's really well accepted, and it helps to address not only protein requirements, improving protein requirements, but there are many accessory nutrients, things like zinc, for example, which is found predominantly in protein, but also in some nuts and seeds, that really helps to develop the palate and make kids more open to trying new foods, in my experience. So rather than supplementing, it's kind of a food-based supplement, I suppose.
yeah, so that was something really fun he could do himself, and
Yeah.
he'd be like, "I'm doing it all myself, mum."
Yeah, and it is
And
anyone can make a smoothie, can't they? Most
yeah,
kids, even from a young age, can make a smoothie.
yeah, and so this meant, most of the time he would try it and he would love it, and he'd be like, "Oh, I did such a great job, mum." I'm like, "Yeah, you
Has he ever made a flavour combination that hasn't been a winner? Because my son did
did."
that. My son put rocket in a blueberry smoothie once, and it just was not good.
I can't think of any, but
No,
it doesn't work every time,
no,
but the majority of the time, if he's doing it himself, he
yeah,
will at least try it, which is
yeah,
which is what you want.
yes.
Yeah,
Any other wins or any other things that you've learnt through these last 2 years?
yeah,
Because
yeah. There's
I
heaps.
know, yeah, I know. Like as part of the program, we do open ourselves, Jane and I, to question and answers, and I think that's such an important part of this program, because there are
Yes,
lots of programs out there, and look, we considered this enormously when we were putting the program together. It's in depth, and we feel like we've covered so much in the program, but every family
yes,
is unique, and we wanted to be able to answer questions, to address anything that we'd missed, and just really support parents doing the program to actually keep moving forward with the program. Because I feel like not having support when you're doing anything that's challenging is it doesn't level up to the same level of success, I suppose, as if you have
yes,
support, no matter what you do.
yeah.
whether you're exercising or learning an instrument or whatever, if you've got support, and I just know, having raised my kids without a whole lot of support, I wanted to be able to be available to parents, particularly with young kids who needed that support. And as I said, Jane works with youth justice kids, and she is an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to the psychological and relationship part of
Yes.
raising well-nourished kids. And one thing that I love about you, Nicole, is that you've made the most of asking us questions, and we're so grateful for that, because as I said, it not only helps to inform us what we need to improve upon in the program, but just to be able to offer that support is so important, I think. And
it makes this program so phenomenal because it keeps you engaged as well along the process. Plus, also, like you said, you know, every child's different. Ashton is neurodivergent, so that brings another kind of thing into the mix that obviously affects his eating habits. So it has been incredible to be able to ask questions, and we've had the monthly Q&A questions, which is it's just amazing, and it is really helped throughout the process, having that opportunity to interact and ask questions, and then also ask about, okay, you know, Ashton's doing this, you know, what are the strategies I can use to help, you know, get him back on track. So,
and I know, like, I can even remember one question, you went on holiday and the wheels kind of felt like they'd fallen off a little bit, didn't they? And that's totally normal. So, you know, a lot of parents, if they perhaps didn't have the support that we offer, might have thought, okay, it's all gone pear-shaped. But I know I said to you at the time, these are the things that, you know, that you can do to perhaps get back on track, and you'll be surprised at how quickly things do get back on track. Did you find that?
Yeah, I did actually. Like, you would kind of have your routine at home. And then, you know, we went on holidays, and for instance, we went to Japan, and all the food was extremely different. And as soon as Ashton got there, his stomach, he got really upset again, and he got sick, you know. And then, you know, I reached out to you and Jane and asked the question, you know, what can I do? And it was really just kind of, you know, paring it back and looking at the basics again, and also asking him, okay,